Morning, everybody.
Good morning, Mayor.
Morning.
Thanks for
Hey,
saying
Brenda.
hi. Then I know the audio is working. Still got people joining, so we'll give it another minute or two here. Okay, seem to have a good amount of folks. So we have 3 items on our agenda this morning. We're going to start off with Lizzie, who's subbing in for Jessica from the county to give us an update on what's going on with the coordinator.
Good morning, everybody. Please excuse me, I'm losing my voice slowly this morning. Miss Jessica will be back on September 4th, so we're excited to have her back next week. But just a couple updates. The Tri-Cities Family Service Provider RFP, we are actually relaunching because we did not receive a response. The one response we did was not able to submit on time. So we just, as the county, made an executive decision to reopen it for a couple weeks. So questions will be due by September 5th. By 2 p.m. and then the bid will close on September 18th by 2 p.m. The change the terrain contract is still underway for the county in the Tri-Cities. We're hoping to get that closed up here shortly. The HAP Force contract for services for inclement weather for the year 2025 through 2026 will officially start on September 1st, which is next week. The PSH feasibility study, we will start meeting with our consultant, CSH, which was awarded, to start talking about logistics, next steps, contracting, as well as the timeline for completion of the project and some of the additional intervals that we were requested through the RFP process. Also, we did want to make a quick announcement. We actually received from Kyla's group from NBHI that the Tri-Cities has 3 available spots for the Colorado State Formal Registration. The topic is building a resilient homeless prevention response system. The event is September 30th and October 1st. The registration will close on September 3rd. So if anyone's interested, please let me know and I will send you the web link for registration. Those are all the updates I have for today.
Great. So that was what was the topic of that again? Sorry, that went a little fast for me. I was
sorry. Building a resilient homeless prevention response system.
Okay, and that's like is that a full day each day?
It's 2 full days.
2 full days. Okay. Great.
Hey, Lizzie, this is Devin. I'm sorry. On the permanent supportive housing, the initial meeting with the contractor, is that a meeting that's just you guys are doing with the county to get them kicked off, or what are we doing?
Yes, to meet the key players, and it's just a quick introduction, looking at their timeline, their projections, and then we'll bring it back to the steering committee next month in September.
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Great. Any other questions for Lizzie? A lot of stuff going on. Appreciate it. Okay, well, we have two people who are going to speak with us today about what's going on with them. So I've got Julie Hall on from Hat Force, who's going to talk about what they're doing for this year's severe weather. Well, I mean, we have year-round severe weather now, but the winter severe weather sheltering overview, I think, right, Julie?
Yes, good morning, everyone. I have worked in the nonprofit community here for almost 7 years, but I have recently moved into program director role with Hat Force. And so I wanted to kind of just give you a little bit of data and overview from last season, and then also talk about this season. So I'm going to share my screen, if that's okay.
Yeah, please.
And then, let's see. Let me know if you can see it.
Yes, I can see
Okay.
it.
Great. So Hat Force stands for Homelessness
Now we
Awareness.
lost it. Now we see Google Docs.
Okay, hang on.
Now I can see the slides inside of PowerPoint or whatever.
But
tool
when
you're
I go to
using.
slideshow, you just can't see them.
Yeah, I think it just went to a different screen or something when you went to the slideshow view.
I'll just do it this way.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're called Homelessness Awareness and Action Task Force South Metro. We've been around for 15 years now. And really our organization is to provide life-saving shelter to the most vulnerable. So we open October through April when it's 32 degrees and below wet, 20 degrees and below dry. And currently we work out of Spirit of Hope Church. They're located in Inglewood near Hamden and Broadway. And that's where we office out of, and then that's where we also voucher out of. And then we have 4 hotels that we're partnering with, 2 in Inglewood, 1 in Lakewood, and 1 in Aurora. And then our historical population has been those with disabilities, unhoused with pets and service animals, families with children, non-gender conforming adults, and then older adults over 65. And really, we say the term most vulnerable because essentially those that might not be served as well in congregate shelter. Last season, when severe weather shelter closed, we were asked to consider taking on those other single adult clients that typically severe weather shelters served. And so we included them in our season last year, 2024 to 2025. And that was quite a scale. It essentially doubled the number of hotel rooms we needed and the population we served. So it was definitely quite an increase in capacity, and we definitely had, you know, some challenges scaling and having infrastructure for that. But I think we ended the season really well. And so I wanted to share some of that data with you. We went from 20 to 30 rooms that we would voucher on a typical night when we were full to 40 to 50. And that number of clients would be around 75. But I think on our highest sheltering night, it was 100 people. We had 14 total vouchering events with 38 nights of sheltering. So that just means that some events were multi-nights that we kept people in hotels. And our longest vouchering stretch was 6 nights, which was in January. We registered a total of 316 individuals, but ended up sheltering 192 distinct individuals. And we provided 561 vouchers. For sheltered client data, just a basic demographic breakout, it was about 87 men, 85 women, 20 children, 18 dogs, and 5 cats. And I just love to share that because our friends who are unhoused, sometimes their closest family are their animals, and it is really challenging for them if they're not able to find a place to stay with their pets. We sheltered 128 households. So 42 of those were a couple or included children, and then 86 were individuals. So you can kind of see where that larger increase was with the severe weather shelter clients. And then average cost for a night when we were full would be about $4,000, including the hotel rooms, transportation that we provide, and food costs. And then that does not include our staffing costs. So that just gives you a quick idea. I wanted to share celebrations. We had 9 clients housed last season, which is just something we all want to celebrate. I know you all need those kind of celebrations as well. And those were in partnership with other organizations. But I definitely wanted to highlight, this is Tiffany Harper. She's been a client with Hot Force for a couple years. And she has a disability and also some significant medical challenges. And so living in her car was really, really hard on her body. We were able to help her with a longer term medical voucher in partnership with Colorado Access. And then she was able to get into a camper, and she just was really passionate about volunteering with us. And now we have been able to take her on staff. She's one of our severe weather shelter assistants. And it's been really wonderful because anytime we're able to have someone on our staff with lived experience, they really speak into our work in a very meaningful way, but also really are able to connect with our clients in ways that are that we can't always, because we don't understand exactly what it's like. So Tiffany has been on staff with us. She was able to move out of her camper and get into her own apartment through Denver Housing Authority just about a month ago, and is getting settled in. And so that's just been a really big celebration for our organization. And I'm really excited to work with Tiffany. And we're also bringing on one more person of lived experience to kind of help in that severe weather shelter assistant role. So that's a celebration from us. Sustainability. So, with the recent closing of Break Bread, I think that brings us to maybe 4 nonprofits that have closed this year that intentionally served people experiencing homelessness. So I'm sure you are aware and concerned about sustainability of nonprofits. We definitely are. And that's something this season that our board and we as a staff are really looking at. Hot Force hired me as a full-time program director, and it's really been helpful because a lot of times they've only been able to hire right before the season, and then they have to let that role go right after. So I've been able to come in and really look at, take time to look at our processes and our data and our volunteers and our partnerships, and try to really prepare us well for this coming season. And then we have those 2 severe weather shelter assistants that help us on vouchering days. And then we've also hired a part-time fundraiser. We really want to intentionally be around. We know that, funding is uncertain on the grant side and government side. And we're just intentionally making sure that we kind of diversify our funding, and we want to be around for a long time. We're working on really meaningful engagement with our volunteers. I'm excited to partner with All Health to help train them on, de-escalation and self-care, and make sure that they feel really empowered to serve the unhoused on those vouchering days. And then I'm widening our partner base. There's a lot of organizations that we can work with to be better and to really feed into that case management. I think a great example is if you're familiar with Stride Medical Mobile Unit, they're out there to help people on the streets with their medical needs. And a lot of times it's challenging in the winter to know where to connect with those clients. And they have nurses and just are really well staffed. And so we're going to partner with them this season, and they'll actually be able to come in and help people with getting medical prescription refills, and potentially even visiting hotel rooms and giving people medical care that they need on site. And so just some creative ways to really help the unhoused where they are, instead of asking them to access those resources somewhere else. As far as funding, we're still waiting on some of our grants for this season, and we're just looking at what our capacity will be. We really want to serve all populations. Our board is looking at kind of that, essentially that long-term mission and population that we serve, and say, you know, do we need to just go back to save or just to taking care of like this historical population that are the most vulnerable, and make sure that we can continue to serve them long term sustainably, or are we able to continue to include you know, these other single adult clients? And I know, like, at least I will just say that our staffing really would love to include all populations this season, if at all possible. That's our heart. We want everybody to have a safe, warm place on those shelter evenings. We just would, you know, we're looking at a lot of opportunities, like I said, with fundraising for private dollars, business dollars, sponsorships, grant funding. If you have any ideas for us, we always appreciate that. We know you're well connected in the community. Our annual fundraiser will be at Spirit of Hope the evening of October the 9th. And certainly if you'd love to learn more about what we do, or, you know, hear Tiffany's story in person, she'll be sharing that evening, we would invite you to join us. We're working on a lot of creative ways to address the food security of our clients when they come in. You know, our funding is primarily for shelter, but we do not want to send them to the hotels hungry. So I'm working on a lot of just trying to be really creative with how we make sure we have food, prepared food, healthy, nutritious food. If you have ideas around that, happy to partner and hear about that. Transportation is, we offer through you know, bus tickets, but we know that's not always ideal on a winter day. So if you have ideas for transportation of our clients to hotels, I'm looking at different opportunities for that. And then we'd really like a hotel that is closer, one more that's closer to this area and to our vouchering location. And it's pretty challenging to get in touch with people in sales with hotels and kind of bring them on board. So if anyone has connections and relationships that way, I'd love to hear about it. So I will stop sharing my screen, and I'm happy to take any questions if anyone has them.
Julie, how do you have you typically been able to feed everybody? How does that get done?
So Integrated Family Community Services has been a really great partner to us to help us get a lot of that shelf stable food, which is especially important on those longer vouchering events. They have seen a decrease in funding, and they still want to partner with us, but they're kind of trying to come up with some other creative ways, because they can't just give us the some of the food that they typically would buy. And then we do have Break Bread was one of our important partners for making the prepared meals that we would freeze individually, and they also would deliver for us. So I'm looking into a lot of like church groups that can make and freeze food. That there's a lot of interest in that. We have volunteers interested in that piece, and that will really help a lot. But there's also some creative things like Kitchen 1 for 1 is a food truck that will do a paid event, and then will come donate their food at potentially at one of our vouchering events. I'm working with them. So there's a lot of opportunity to get creative with that. But yeah, we've had some shift in the partners that kind of contributed in a certain way, and you know, they want to continue if they can.
Yeah. Sean, what do you have for us?
Mayor, yeah, great presentation. Really appreciate y'all's focus on sustainability and making sure that you can keep doing the good work that you're doing. You're spot on that there is concern, I think, among even community members, but certainly this group, in terms of the loss of you know, a number of these nonprofits. I wanted to ask about as we near severe weather sheltering, is Movement still one of the partners for the overflow, like they were last year? And apologies if you already said that.
No, I didn't. I have been hoping to get a meeting with them. So I've got that invite out, and you know, we would love for them to be overflow if they're able to be. I just haven't been able to meet with them yet.
Great. We'll put in a good word from our end.
Thank you.
Other questions or thoughts anybody wants to share before we move on? No? Okay. Well, everybody keep your eyes open for suggestions maybe that you can send to Julie. I'm sure there's enough people in this group. I'm sure somebody will have an idea for some of those needs. Okay. Thanks so much, Julie. We really appreciate it. And we appreciate the work you're doing to keep people safe. Okay, let's move on to, we have overview of the point in time for the Tri-Cities. And we have Jason Johnson and Kyla Moe. Welcome back, both of you.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, all. I see lots of familiar faces and familiar names, probably from a presentation that I did to the group last year. So apologize in advance if some of this is repetitive. But I am also going to share.
It's okay. We always have people coming in and out of this group too. So
the data is different. So at least that's the different this year. The data is different. Okay, are you guys seeing my presentation?
Yes.
Okay. Well, maybe my mouth isn't working. There it goes. So just high level, for those of you, I'm Kyla Moe. I'm the Deputy Director of Metro Denver Homeless Initiative. And so we are the local continuum of care that is designated by HUD to oversee the 7-county region of the Denver metro area. And so our mission is to lead and advance the collaboration in homelessness with our vision of, making sure everybody, dedicated to everybody in the metro region having a safe, stable place to call home. And this is just kind of the map of, there is a total of 4 COCs in Colorado. So there's ourselves and then 3 others. Again, we represent the 7-county metro region. So Adams, Arapahoe, Boulder, Broomfield, Denver, Douglas, and Jefferson. And then there's 3 other COCs that are very similar to us, do the same stuff. We're in really close partnership that does the rest of the Colorado. So kind of split out. One of our main focuses is collecting data. And so we collect data from, homeless service providers, for example, Julie and Hatforce. We work with them to get data collected, and we do that through our Homeless Management Information System, or for short, HMIS. And so we use this data in various ways. And so a lot of it is, working with you all to be able to provide the data that you need, and to highlight, the great work that everybody's doing in the region. We do that through a series of reports. We do that for, the HUD requires that we do several reports a year. So we use data collected through HMIS to create those reports and submit them to our federal partners and our state partners. And then we also create regional reports, so more localized reports and communications. For example, the state of homelessness and the PIT reports. So today I'm going to do kind of high level of the state of homelessness report, and then what is the point in time count and the data for the Tri-City region that we collected in 2025. So first I'm going to highlight the Colorado State of Homelessness report. So this report was in collaboration with the other 3 COCs, so all 4 COCs. And really it was the first time that we took the opportunity to look at the state as a whole on numbers and information for the services provided to those experiencing homelessness in 2024. And so here is the link to the overall dashboard. If you guys are interested, we can put it in the chat too, but we did, the launch and all of our communications earlier this year. So hopefully you guys have had a chance to look at that dashboard and reports, but if not, it is on our website and we can put the link in the chat to access it later. But just kind of high level data that we've seen out of it. Again, this first one is across Colorado. So across Colorado in the calendar year 2024, there was over 52,000 people who sought services related to housing, or sought housing and services related to homelessness. This number doesn't include those that may have been seeking services, while being housed, or services. So these were just those that were experiencing homelessness at one point during 2024. The number is, as you would expect, would be larger if we look at everybody that accessed some type of service in 2024. Of those, a little over 8,000 experienced homeless for the first time. And then just a quick note is, our data is self-report. So we asked them a series of questions, they self-report, and so that's what we reported. So they self-reported that this, this at the time of intake or at the time of when we collected the data, that was their first time experiencing homelessness. They also a little under 16,000 identified as chronically homeless. So that means been on the street longer than a year or 4 or more episodes over a 3-year period. And 3,400 of those identified as veterans. And then, 28,000 reported that they had a disabling condition. Breaking that down to just Metro Denver. So again, this is the 7-county region, 7-county region. We've seen, over 34,000 people access service related to homelessness. And breaking that down, it's about, 11,000 on a monthly basis. And then, kind of, Julie, I love that, doing the celebrations and celebrating the wins. We also seen over 6,000 people that get housed in 2024. So that is a high level, again, the state of homelessness report. There is more data and more information available on the state of homelessness report on our website. So feel free to dig into there. And and I'll have a slide at the end, but if there's any additional data that you would like, we're happy to provide that. And we can do that through a special data request. But one of the data points that we do every year is we do what is called the point in time count. And so what that is it is an unduplicated count of people experiencing homelessness on a single night in January. The Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, that is kind of a regulation or requirement of COCs, is that we do that on the, in January. I know others have asked why January. We don't know why HUD picks January, but it just says we have to conduct across the whole region, across the whole nation. It has to be that last 10 days in January. So every year we do the point in time count, and it only counts individuals that meet the definition of HUD's literal homeless definition. And so that definition is those individuals living in a place not meant for human habitation, emergency shelters, and some transitional housing programs we count. There's a kind of length of stay aspect that we have to look at for the transitional housing. What this doesn't count is, people who are at risk of becoming homelessness, those that are staying with friends or family in a hotel that is not paid for by an agency. So for example, the work that HAPForce does, they are providing that voucher. So those individuals are counted in that count. But if the individual happened to be paying for the hotel room themselves, or a family or friend pay for it that night, unfortunately, they are not counted as literal homeless as HUD's definition. HUD's definition also doesn't include McKinney-Vento, so students experiencing homelessness that may be couch surfing or doubled up families. So again, it's just a point of data that is used by HUD each year and kind of, helps tell a portion of the story. So how it works is, it's really the regions, it's all of you guys, it's that, really help us make this count successful. So MDHI's role is to work with all of the 7 counties, the 9 subregions, to help coordinate the count every year. And so we do that by bringing the folks together, the leads in each of the counties, and helping them organize. And so that's, what do you need for volunteers? What are, helping them do the count survey training, and really kind of helping them organize. But it's really the regions and your guys's work that makes this happen. And so there's, slight variations of each county's approach on how they do that. But for Tri-Cities and Arapahoe, you guys do the full census, which is, you go out on the night and you conduct a full survey of, any individuals that you can find sleeping on the streets. And then we work with shelters to pull the data from HMIS. If they're not in HMIS, we then provide like a mobile survey for them to do the sheltered count. So it's really split into a sheltered count and an unsheltered count. The unsheltered count is the one that requires most of the volunteers. So those are the people that are walking, the neighborhoods and trying to find our unhoused neighbors. And then again, we try to pull data from HMIS as much as possible that we can for those providers. Again, just kind of stating there are some limitations in the point in time count. As I mentioned, it is just a 1-night count. So there's various factors that can be involved in that, as weather, volunteer engagement, capacity, all of that. So that is really where we try to do a more comprehensive picture of homelessness through the state of homelessness report. So just again, it's a point in time, as it says in the name, but then there's a more comprehensive look in our state of homelessness. Some of the region's point in time count data from January is, across the whole region, there was, 10,000, a little over 10,000 people that were experiencing homelessness on January 27th, which is the night that the count took place this year. Breaking it out between the sheltered and the unsheltered, the majority of those folks were in a sheltered situation, again, as emergency shelters, transitional housing, or safe haven programs. So 8,625 were sheltered and 2,149 were unsheltered. So those were individuals that slept on the streets or other places not meant for human habitation. So that's kind of the overview as Metro Denver as a whole. And then just kind of looking at the population breakdown, and the majority of those individuals were adults only. 65% were adults only, 30% were families, and 5% was youth only. High-level characteristics, again, kind of the same as the state of homelessness report. 1 in 3 individuals identified as being newly homeless, and the same 1 in 3 individuals identified as experiencing chronic homelessness. So again, the longer-term homelessness. And then breaking it down for you all. So Arapahoe County as a whole, seeing about 725 people. 400 of those were sheltered and 300 were unsheltered. And then for your guys' region in particular, we were able to find 137 people experiencing homelessness, 31 of those in shelters, and 106 of those unsheltered. And then again, that's again just high level snapshot, pulled out some data points. But if you visit our website, mdhi.org, and you can go under the data section, or if you can go to point in time, you can access both the point in time dashboard and then the state of homelessness dashboard. Just a quick note at this time, and we are working to further advance those dashboards. Those dashboards are only available at the county level. So you guys would have to look at Arapahoe County as a whole. It doesn't have the city level data broken down by it, but that is something that we're looking to add for future improvements to our dashboard. But if there is any other data elements, and I know that I work with Jess quite a bit to do some special data requests for you all on just some little bit more granular data related to Tri-Cities. So I'm going to stop sharing, but open for any questions.
Good info. Anybody have questions? It's quiet.
I do just want to plug, and I didn't put a slide on it, so of course I forgot, but we are starting the 2026 PIT planning. It actually is, our kickoff meeting is tomorrow. So the planning for that is started, and who we have is kind of the reps for your guys' region is Jess is the rep for Tri-Cities and Arapahoe, and then also Vanessa Gates is there to help represent Centennial, and then for Arapahoe County as a whole, we have Molly and Cameron. So those are kind of the PIT leads, and so really what that means is they are the ones that we kind of work closely with to make sure they have the support that they need to reach out to all you at different sub populations to actually organize and complete the count, but they are who's representing the Tri-City areas this year for 2026.
Great. I think we know all those people. I don't know the Centennial person, but I know all the other ones, so I know we're well represented in that group. Okay. Jim, go ahead.
Good morning. This is one of those times, just like the last presentation, where the online, forum that we have here doesn't work as well, to just say thank you and express appreciation on behalf of Littleton, and I'm sure all of our 3 cities, for the work that you do and the Hat Force does too. I mean, this is hard work, and I know that point in time count is the project, and it's not easy. So thank you. I know that we have city council members in our policy planning sessions who are asking about PIT numbers, and they do matter. So I just want to say that we really appreciate it and say thank you.
Thank you, Jen. And again, right back at you guys. This couldn't be done. We couldn't pull this off without all of the support from all of you guys and all of our service providers as well. So, you know, very collaborative effort, and it is an undertaking. As you know, we start planning 6 months in advance, so it is a huge undertaking. But yeah, appreciate all your guys' support.
Great. Okay.
Mayor, while we have the
Yes.
microphone, I wonder if we could offer to save the dates. We will have much more information about both of these events shortly, but just wanted to highlight that we'll be hosting a stakeholders meeting on October 29th. This will be at the Upper Laramie Hall in downtown Denver, very near Union Station. And so hoping that many of you can join us for that COC stakeholders meeting, again, October 29th. And then, you know, this year we launched a annual event, our COC convening. This year that was in Boulder at the Jewish Community Center. This upcoming convening will again be hosted in April, on April 22nd, 2026. And that will be at the Auraria campus, specifically in the Tivoli Center, at the Turn Hall, and several other rooms in that facility. So just wanted to make sure that those dates were on your radar. Again, much more information will be coming out. We'll have a website with the full agendas and those kind of things. Yes, the event on the 29th of October is all day. That said, there's really two separate activities that we'll be hosting on those days. So one half of the day will be focused on strategic planning. The other half of the day will be focused on Built for Zero and our efforts to house veterans. So again, more information to come at this point. Just wanted to get those dates on your calendars and hope that you'll be able to participate. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here. Okay. We have some extra time today. Is there anybody else who wants to share anything that's going on in your city or your organization that you think this group might be interested in? Go ahead, Carrie.
Good morning, everybody. It's so great to see you all. I hope you've had some good, relaxing time this summer. I just wanted to let you know that I have missed seeing everybody. The new moving to this on Tuesdays does conflict with our business meetings typically. So I know that there's a lot of folks from Arapahoe County on there, but if ever you need anything or we can support in any way, please let me know. I just won't be able to attend as regularly as I have in the past. But thank you, just to put a cap on what Jim said earlier for everything that you all do. It's gonna be very interesting times ahead of us, but I know because we are working together, we'll be able to deal with all of the issues that are coming at us in the next couple of years. So like I said, please let me know if there's anything I can do. I'll put my phone number in the chat so you can reach out to me.
Great. Thanks, Carrie. Thanks for letting us know that.
Yeah.
Well, we'll miss having you here. You always have good questions and good insights. So. Okay, Sean, what do you have?
Mayor, I was going to ask, oh, good, Mike is on the call. How Littleton's conversation on affordable housing went. I think they had Dr. Cog in, and then just report out on a conversation our council had last night, but wondering if Mike can give us a taste of what Littleton talked about.
Sorry, Sean, can you say that one more time?
Yeah, just if you can give us a kind of a feel for Littleton Council's presentation from Dr. Cog and from your staff on affordable housing.
Yeah. So thanks, Sean. Yeah, no, it was a great discussion about, you know, the housing needs that exist, and obviously we focus a lot on homelessness in this Tri-Cities, you know, policy meetings. But the one cure for homelessness is housing, right? And so it makes a lot of sense to dig into what the housing needs are. And so, yeah, there's really no surprises in the discussion. We have a lack of housing in the Denver metro region, and specifically in the Tri-Cities region, and for us, Littleton. And that's all types of housing, but especially affordable housing. And so we had a pretty vibrant discussion about that. I would say that our council is very interested in the study that Tri-Cities is getting ready to undertake with the permanent supportive housing. That's going to provide a roadmap for some of the things that we need to do here in the near future. While I have the camera on, just a second, on a completely different note, on September 24th, there will be a longer table in Littleton on Main Street. We're going to shut down Main Street, and we're going to try to feed a dinner to as many as 5,000 people. It's free, so the cost is right for all of us. And it's designed to invite everybody to the table to connect, to create some understanding, and really to encourage social relationships and connections in our communities. So that's September 24th. You can look that up at longertables.org/Littleton. Or if you look up Google Littleton Longer Tables, that'll pull it up as well. We're still looking for people to come and eat. We're also looking for people to volunteer. We're still looking for some sponsors too. If there's people we can be connected with, we'd appreciate that. But that's September 24th in the evening, so it'll be a dinner. And the ambiance of historic Main Street will be incredible. The Hispanic Restaurant Owners Association is providing the food. And we look forward to as many of the Tri-Cities people, you all, to be involved. We'd love to feed you dinner and sit and visit with you for a while, and have other people be exposed to you as well. Now back to Sean on how did conversation go? That'd be really interested to hear.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. It's really exciting. I had heard about the open tables, longer tables event from Tammy Slifer, and I would love to attend that. I need to get registered. Yeah, so Inglewood went over some of probably the same Dr. Cog information specific to Inglewood last night with our council, and that was kind of part of looking at the state land use laws. The next item, though, was very much connected and looking at affordable housing strategy. And so actually, I've already got the presentation up. I could just share the screen to tell you what council voted on or gave us direction on. And that is a 2-year term staff member to compile the plan, working with staff, compiling the plan based on the Affordable Housing Task Force that worked through most of 2024, and then put that together in a plan. While we're developing the plan, we'll be taking policies to council for their consideration. But we have an old affordable housing rehab fund that's got about $1 million in it. We're very fortunate. It can only be spent on affordable housing. It's from the days when we had our own, the housing authority was inside the city of Inglewood. And we have some sales of homes that then refund that fund. So we're using that for the first couple of years, developing the job description. In fact, I know Tim last night was already working on the job description after we got council direction. And then we're going to be working on a 20-year affordable housing plan. Another thing that I just could report on is the work that council did to actually set goals for that. I think that I've got those to take up too much time, but there were 4 main goals that council did. First of all, they want to preserve existing affordable housing. Second, they want to increase the supply across the housing continuum, and we will be kind of relying on Tri-Cities to help us on that permanent supportive housing piece. Third, we want to expand pathways to home ownership. That's a real focus of the city council. And then fourth, just making sure that we're integrating that affordable housing component through the city. So we gave council some different options for what that would look like, and just kind of wanted to hear what Littleton had done, but also just report out that we're working on that too. I know a number of cities are. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for sharing all that, both of you. And then Tammy also put the info about longer tables in the chat if you don't have that. I mentioned that to our council last night, so maybe we'll get a few more people to join us. Okay. Yeah, both of those look great. We also had a discussion last night about the DRCOG regional housing assessment in our council. And yeah, it's a little daunting. I'm sure it's daunting for everyone to see how much need there is before, the two timelines they laid out in that plan, up to 2032 and up to 2050, and see how much work we have left to do. But I'm feeling positive, since we have this work between our three cities, that we can make a dent in that. I think council is pretty much supportive, on our council, of continuing to try to get more affordable housing built. So we're excited to go forward with that.
And Mayor, if I might I'll just follow up on your comments really quick, just to kind of give people a perspective where we are in Sheridan. We're just finishing up kind of the data aspect of our housing needs assessment. And then we'll be working with our consultant on more of the strategic side here shortly. So hopefully by the end of the year, we'll be caught up a little bit on those sides, and have some housing plans, some strategies as well, and then look forward to coordinating with everybody on that.
Yeah, because we're doing kind of, we got the DRCOG information, but we were also in the midst of doing our own studies.
Right.
We'll have both to kind of work from. Go ahead, Carrie.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm interested, Sean, in the slide, and Mike and Devin as well. When we talk about preserving affordable housing, what are the strategies around that? Or is that like working with Habitat for Humanity or some other group to actually purchase those and maybe rehab those and keep it in some kind of deed restricted stock, or portfolio of some kind? What does that look like, since especially in your cities, housing is so expensive?
Yeah, I can start with that. We gave a couple of suggestions to council about that in terms of best practices. One was a rental preservation ordinance that would, basically for kind of naturally occurring rentals that are lower in cost, working with landlords on tenant retention, looking at an emergency fund that could help someone, like, let's say they have a car accident or a major medical issue that causes them to not be able to pay rent for a month or two until they catch up, that would, help keep them in that more naturally occurring. Also offering rehabilitation grants, which we have a program that we put about $100,000 a year in to help low-income individuals, stay in their houses. But we're working with landlords that are improving those properties from like an emergency. My hot water heater fell through into my crawl space and things like that, but also rehabilitation to make homes, accessible. We've also some of these are based on the state stuff where, establish a right of first refusal program, where, when a naturally occurring affordable or a motel or something else goes onto the private sector, that we use that right of first refusal and make sure our housing authority or another partner has the ability to, buy that up to preserve that naturally occurring. And then, landlord incentive programs, tenant assistance fund, which that was what I was talking about earlier, to support kind of emergency rental assistance. So those are some of the strategies that we're looking at on the preservation side.
Well, Commissioner Warren, Littleton's in the same boat, and many of the things that you mentioned, I think that the Meadowwood, community example where we helped them acquire the community and then, put in those deed restrictions is a great example. And then we are working with our housing authority, South Metro Housing Options, to carve out a portion of their investments into preservation, including trying to make more deed restricted housing.
Okay, that's great. That's great. You know, the other thing I wanted to kind of just mention to this group, and actually this has been something that Councilwoman Pam Grove from Littleton approached me about a couple of years ago, was the fact that the funding that, oh, now I'm blanking on the money that we put together, the Pass a Ballot Initiative, 123, I think it was, that, we have to meet certain marks and progress and goals and that type of thing. It was brought to my attention by Pam that preserving affordable housing is not actually count towards those numbers. And one of the things that, one of the bills that CCI and a couple of other legislators are talking about is doing some kind of bill that would do fixes to 123. And now that we've been working with it for a couple of years. Oh, good. Kathy says it now does count, Commissioner. Oh, good.
Yes, there are, once they released the guidance, there were some pretty detailed ways to calculate the preservation of affordable housing as well. So
Okay, well then we'll take that out of the request, but I was gonna see if this group could advocate to make sure that gets counted because it's super important. So thank you. I'm glad to hear that.
Awesome. Okay. Anything else right now? I'm really glad that we have this forum to share our plans and where we're at with affordable housing too. And because we know that's such a big part of keeping people from becoming homeless. So I'm glad this is a place we can do that. Okay. Anybody have anything else they want to bring up for today? Nope. Okay, we'll call it then. And hope you all have a great day and we'll see you next month.
Thanks,
Take care.
everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.